Hippocrates, the father of medicine, used to say, "Let thy food be thy medicine." That was true until 1996, when globally was introduced the use of pesticides in all the agricultural practices. You might know a little bit of how food is produced nowadays in agriculture and in the raising of animals for human consumption. The practices that are used today globally are not the best practices for our health and also for the ecology. I'm going to explain a little bit about agriculture first and then about animals. There are three main practices in agriculture that have distorted and affected seriously our health and the ecosystem. Number one is the use of monocultures. That means that in big extensions of land, only one kind of crop is produced there. What that does is that that single kind of plant takes nutrients from the soil in the same proportions, and it takes it again and again until it drains it completely of these kind of nutrients. What humans have tried to do is to replenish those nutrients for the soil, but they do it in an artificial way using fertilizers, mainly chemical fertilizers. Slowly, this starts eroding the earth, and it's considered today that around 90% of the soil globally is eroded and is degraded. It does not have enough nutrients to produce plants and food in the natural way with all its components it needs. So this is one of the practices that has affected very much agriculture and our health. So we are receiving food that is depleted in nutrients, and we are also depleting the nutrients of the soil. Number two, these monocultures also affect the plants themselves, because plants grow in nature. They grow in a mix of all kinds of varieties of plants, flowers, fruit trees. Each one of them protects the other and nourishes the other. In this combination of an ecosystem, everything works organically and everything flourishes. Because of monoculture practices, we don't have that anymore. When we have one kind of crop in a big extension of land, they don't have also the other plants that protect them. Therefore, more bugs and pests come and invade those plantations. And what humans have tried to do is to use pesticides and chemicals that kill all these bugs. But these chemicals stay in the plants, are absorbed by the plants, and we eat them ourselves. It's very well known today that the areas where Roundup is used the most are the areas where most incidence of cancer is today. So there's a direct relationship between cancer and other chronic degenerative diseases with the consumption of products that have these chemicals in them. Monocultures need more pesticides, more chemicals, we eat them, and this depletes even more the soil, because these chemicals also kill all the microorganisms in the soil. And number three, the third practice is GMO products, genetically modified seeds that when we use them to plant do not have the right genetical information in the plants that has other consequences for our health, but they don't grow as strong and they cannot regenerate themselves. They cannot produce seeds that are fertile to grow again. So also the farmers become completely dependent on the governments that give all these subsidies for them to have their plantations. So it's a vicious cycle that constantly depletes the earth, makes us more sick, and also depletes the ecosystem. So first of all, this is what is actually happening with agriculture. And something very similar is happening with the raising of animals for human consumption, with cattle, with chickens, with fish, with all the animal products for human consumption. Because they are raised also in a very similar way in big extensions of land or big factories or closed spaces, these animals grow with a lot of stress. They are injected and they receive a lot of chemicals, a lot of hormones and antibiotics to keep them alive in these very unnatural spaces. So the animals, all the stress hormones that they have, all the chemicals that they are injected, we consume them ourselves. And this is another factor for our creation of disease in humans. It is known today that 90% of the air pollution today is created by the raising of animals for human consumption. The way they are raised creates a lot of pollution. They use a lot of chemicals that we receive in our bodies. It creates much more disease. And as a matter of fact, human beings are not made to consume so much animal products. So what I'm inviting you here is to start consuming products, first of all, that are organic, because the practices that are used for production of all kinds of vegetables, fruits, and the products for a vegetarian diet or for a carnivorous diet, that are of organic origin are completely different. So first of all, you're not going to be receiving all these chemicals in your body that can get you sick. You're going to be supporting other practices that are much more regenerative for the soil and for the animals themselves. Many times they are produced in combination, where the animals are living in the places where the crops are planted, and this creates more regeneration for the soil. It's a natural way of enriching the soil also. There are many practices like permaculture and others that are used to regenerate the earth and our whole ecosystem in the way we produce food. Number 2, if you can, start planting yourself. Before the 1980s, almost half of the population of the world were farmers. People were growing their own food in big scale and also selling it, or just for themselves in their backyards. And today, less than 1% of the population of the planet grows their food. We depend completely on this transnational companies that produce in massive scale, in monocultures, and with all these practices, the food that everybody consumes. But you can do a change today. You can start planting your food. If you have a backyard, if you have land, you don't need much space, and you can plant a lot of food that is so rich in nutrients, that gives you so much satisfaction, not only in the physical level, but in a mental, energetical, and spiritual level. If you don't have a backyard or a land that you can plant on, you can make your own urban vegetable patch in your terrace, on the rooftop, or inside your house next to a window. You need a few pots, you can have boxes. There's many ways where you can put rich soil, use your compost from what you eat, and have amazing soil to grow your own food. Super rich in nutrients. It's super pleasant to do this, and you can also share it with your neighbors. If definitely you cannot do this, in most cities today, there are many systems that can provide you with organic produce that is super rich in nutrients, that have these regenerative practices. They take the food to your home. There are so many ways in which you can support these regenerative practices, so we improve our health, so we support the ecosystem, we reduce global warming, and so many other effects that we are causing to the planet today. If you are a producer of organic food or anything of the sort, send me a message. I'm gonna spread this contacts, tell me where you live, where you produce, so we are starting to create much more networks, and we support each other in this regenerative movement. I am very grateful also for what Dr. Zach Bush shares. I've learned a lot from him. From Farmer's Footprint, there's so much available where you can learn about this. And wherever you live, you can empower yourself to support the environment today. Remember, you are responsible for your own health. And as Hippocrates said, you can make your food your medicine again. Remember, your body knows. I'm Dr. Nirdosh. Have a fantastic day.